Here we are back on the Surrendered Life podcast with an awesome couple, Ben and Hillary, and I'm excited about this. I think I'm excited about this because you guys have a broad picture of the world. You have a broad picture of mission in the world, the challenges that Christianity faces in the world. And when we say world, we want to take all of that and bring it really kind of into this context that we're in. How does our understanding of seeing that the world is so much bigger than Mount Pleasant, South Carolina, really then help us shape our understanding of not just what we're doing here, but really what it means for the gospel to go forward around the world? But we have to figure out our way to be a part of that. And so we're in this tell portion of this series. It flows naturally. We talk about what it looks like to live with Jesus, or to know Jesus and his family, to then live this rhythm of life, walking with Jesus, growing in our disciple making, and how that just naturally has to find itself in this place overflowing of what it means to then tell. And there's so many different ways that we could talk about telling. We could talk about loving and serving and how that's representative of the gospel. We've talked about hospitality and how hospitality is a doorway into the gospel. But then there just comes this point where you just got to open your mouth and say something. Mm-hmm. Like, you've got to open your mouth and say something. I find as a pastor, most people, well-meaning, like a very genuine posture. Like, I'm not saying this in a diminishing way. Genuinely feel these feelings of fear. Mm-hmm. There's this sense of like, either I'm going to screw it up, they're going to ridicule me, it's not going to go well. And then so where I want to bring us in this brief conversation today is, how do we tell people about Jesus? And sort of we use this language, this post-Christian context. Post-Christian, let me just really simplify that for us. Post-Christian just meaning, man, we're not in the era of the Reformation taking off anymore, where all of a sudden there's this rapidly spreading revelation that Jesus is the hero of the story. We're going to surrender and walk with Jesus to the point to where it's running our governments, running our systems of life, where the church is the church is ruling essentially. We don't live in that world anymore. Mm-hmm. There's places where it's more accessible. Mm-hmm. There's places where we're more free, but there is becoming increasing limitation to this freedom of sharing Jesus. So to you guys, and just your years of walking with Jesus and seeing a bit more of the world than maybe some others have, mm-hmm. interacting with others who have seen, helping others process what it looks like, what would you say just simply to, man, how do we find the courage in our time today to tell people about Jesus?
I'll take it. So when you say fear like that kind of hits home for me. Like, I've got a lot of experience. I've been on a lot of mission trips, and like, get me out of my culture, put me in some strange place and give me some training. Like, it's easy to share the gospel with people when you've kind of prepared, that's what you're going specifically to do. But then, like, when I get home, like, I'm really introverted. I get scared of what people think of me. Mm-hmm. Like, that's something I'm always struggling with. So when I think about how Jesus has commanded us to share the gospel with people, I have to right size what that is. God's not like you're saying, mm-hmm. We're in a post-Christian culture. Maybe when we were in a more Christian culture, the street preachers on the corner just yelling at people, maybe that got traction sometime in the past. But nowadays, like, God's not calling me to stand up, give a perfect sermon and yell at people. God's asking me to, as I'm going through life, having conversations with people, look for opportunities to, speak about Jesus, and because people share all sorts of stuff when you're just having conversations about normal everyday things. And so, what's an opportunity to bring up Jesus to people's pain and, stuff that people are going through. Yeah. So when I right size it, having a conversation with my friends isn't so scary.
Yeah, that's good. Really, really bring that into a true and real present reality to what you are doing to reach one more, as opposed to zooming all the way out and going, oh no, I'll
Mhm.
screw this up.
Yeah.
It's just this one moment in conversation. Right
Mhm.
size it. Yeah. Would you add anything to that, Hillary?
I also think, like, for me, it's less about courage and more about doing it scared.
Okay.
Like, I'm always gonna be scared of that moment or
Mm,
scared of, am I gonna mess it up or am I gonna have the wrong words?
yeah.
But then I take a moment and I'm like, the Holy Spirit can fix that. He can take my horrible
Sure.
words in the air and change them into what the person needs to hear.
Yeah.
And so, like, trusting that if he's prompting me, he's got it.
Yeah.
And so, there's, for most people, there's gonna be that moment of, I'm about to tell something that's so important.
Yeah.
And I care about you so much. I don't want to mess it up.
Yep.
So you just do it scared.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I love how you brought up like something that might have worked back then and doesn't work now. Like this
Uh-huh.
this thing of street preaching, is an interesting thing. Y'all see it on social media. People like to post the
Yeah.
clips of themselves doing street preaching and then facing opposition, and you see the victories and you see the challenges, and you watch and you just go, this doesn't. And man, if you're called to preach on the streets,
Yeah,
man,
go for
please
it.
go and absolutely, and let us know how we can help you. Right?
Not gonna be me.
There's those times where you just go. Sometimes we watch, we go, does that even work?
Mhm.
Is
Mhm.
that effective? Sometimes I find myself. I went to a school that was very big on a Bible school and they'd send us out to preach on the street all the time, and I did it. There were times when I thought that was it. You're doing it. All this opposition, everyone just keeps walking. Very few stop and listen and care, and the ones who do want to argue with you. I kind of grew a little callous to it.
Mm.
Um, I'm not against it. But this is a good. I'm elaborating on this to make the point here. And let me just toss it back to you, form of question. What are some effective ways in our time? Like when we zoom out and go, these are all the forms of telling people about Jesus. There are arguably harmful ways to tell people about Jesus.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Oh,
That
yeah.
they are counter effective, not just offensive as the gospel is, but it's like, bro, you should stop doing that.
Mhm.
And then there's effective ways
Mhm.
to do evangelism or to tell people about Jesus who maybe aren't at your dinner table or in your workplace or live in the house next to you. What are some things that come to your mind? Like this is courage in post-Christian context,
Mhm.
but we've got to be intelligent in post-Christian context too.
Yeah. I mean, I found if you pray for opportunities, it's surprising how fast they can show up sometimes. Um, like maybe sometimes it's being a regular at a restaurant that you go to and not just,
Ooh, that's good.
saying the same things
Mhm.
to the waitress that is at your table every time, but like
That's good.
If you're gonna
actually
do it,
asking.
tip well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tip
My
well.
2 cents.
You will
If
be
you're gonna do
remembered.
it, tip well.
Yeah.
And then like actually ask how her day is going, actually learn a little bit about her life. Like ask if you can pray for her, if you've got some rapport with her,
Yeah.
stuff like that. And then sometimes like when you're having conversations with people, you can be looking for opportunities and kind of steer the conversation towards the gospel. And, once you're there, it's kind of easy to talk about because I think a lot of times I imagine there's a ton of opposition out there that like, oh, if I bring up Jesus with this friend of mine, they're going to hate me forever. They're never ever going to want to talk to me again. Like, when has that ever actually been true though? Never. Like people care about you. People
Mm.
want to hear what you have to say most of the time. Like, yeah, if they disagree, 9 times out of 10 they do it very respectfully, and then you have another conversation with them later. Like it takes like multiple conversations with somebody
Yeah.
Mm.
to plant seeds and hope that they grow.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever seen someone have one conversation with one person and they just
Just be the
180 to
moment.
Jesus right then and there.
You're definitely
Yeah.
more in the category of certainly maybe planting some seeds,
Yes.
right?
Mhm. Yeah. So it takes time. Like you think of it like a football field, if someone goes across the goal line, and they they're following Jesus, but like they might be starting at the 30-yard line. Maybe your entire relationship with them is just getting them from the 30-yard line to the 50.
Yeah.
And then someone else takes them from the 50 to the 60, and someone else takes them across the goal line
good.
one day. So
Yeah.
it takes time. It takes just trust in the Holy Spirit with giving you the words to say. Because like when you're in the conversation, you're going to know what to say. It's weird how it happens sometimes.
But what you're really, and so that's kind of knowing your gift set, paying attention to the opportunities and the moments, praying for them, and you might be the 40 to 50 yard man or woman to take somebody to that next place. But the theme and kind of what we're seeing here, and if I actually take what you just said and add it to a lot of the other conversations that we've been having on the podcast, is there's this theme right now of just everyday rhythm. And you gave the restaurant example. You know, if you're a regular somewhere, these are people that you're just sort of in proximity because of the rhythm of your life. I think about literally, I'm on first name basis with my baristas now, where I go in the morning, walk in the door, I call out my name. I don't order on the app. They start making my drink, right? Like, and I think about what you said, and I'm just going, gosh, this is a daily rhythm of my life, opportunity to just gain a yard at a time, if that's what that means. You know, you said something that actually stood out to me too, Hillary. You threw it out there, but you said tip well, and I think we missed something here. Like, I really do. There's the courage and there's the intentionality. Let me take us back. I mean, I haven't got us off track yet. Post-Christian context. Challenging, fearful, opposition. We need courage to figure out how to do this. Rhythm of life. Sometimes it's the one guy on podcast recently said the everyday, the daily obedience, right? But then there's this other piece to that I think is living convictionally. Like, I believe what I'm telling you about. Not just speaking it, but modeling it. And what you said when you said tip well actually really opens a door that I don't think a lot of Christians realize when they go out to eat. Like your missional engagement, when you write that number, and let me tell you why. I've said this to our church before. I sometimes, like when I build relationships with servers at the places I frequent, I've asked them about the Sunday crowd before. Like, literally, if they know my pastor, they expect me to ask dumb questions that pastors ask at brunch, right? So I get the freedom to be like, "Hey, Sunday, your favorite shift?" No. Is it the church crowd? You can tell me honest. I can go back to them and give them your feedback. Honestly, yeah, they're the worst. The worst tips we get are on Sunday lunch,
which is crazy. It should be the best tip.
It should
that
be
they
the
get.
opposite.
and yet
Every
we
week.
want to tell them about Jesus when here's what we're effectively communicating. Your grace and my grace for you is attached to your performance and how well you brought my meal.
Yep.
But when the Jesus you're telling me about said his grace for you wasn't attached to anything that you brought to his table, right?
Yep.
Yep.
These are the things that we've got to, I think, pay attention to. And you both just nailed it. I think we were just talking. I'm sitting here going, that's it. Like we've got to form a relationship, just care about people, and actually display through the rhythms of our life that we mean what we believe that Jesus has done for us. If you guys were to encourage people, maybe even on the fear side, let's bring something tangible, because I think that would emerge as a pretty consistent theme. Not a destructive fear, not even an unhealthy fear, but one that we don't want there, right? Like, how would you encourage them to take a step or be aware or to find themselves more growing more in this area of telling people about Jesus?
I think acknowledging that you are fearful is even a first step. Like recognizing, okay, that's part of what's holding me back. And then realizing, like, in all aspects of life, and even specifically in what we're talking about with sharing the gospel, we get to choose fear or we get to choose to step out in love. And so when I think about those moments, I go back to like love, compassion, and for me, it's asking questions. That's disarming.
Yeah.
It's disarming for me. It's usually disarming for people.
Yeah.
Most people like to talk about themselves. So like when I think, okay, I might be afraid to be like, hey, let me tell you the best thing that's ever happened to me.
Yep.
But I can just say, hey, tell me a little bit about your story.
Wow.
Most people then want to know about my story. My story is all wrapped up in Jesus. So it's like, how do you ask questions, genuinely care about people? And that helps pull me out of the fear, because it's not up to me to change people's hearts. It's up to me to share, but I have no control over their heart. The Holy Spirit does that work.
Yeah.
I just have to use my mouth.
Yeah. Yeah. I think sometimes we've taken this thing of fear and we've sort of demonized it in some ways, you know, like, sure, we want to move away from that, but I came to learn somewhere along the way that fear can be a gift so long as it reminds me of my dependence on Jesus. I need him in this moment. So if it ultimately then can lead me to worship or
a breath prayer, like it can
or
lead
dependence
you to
on
a breath prayer to be in the moment.
Yeah, that's good. Would you add anything to that?
Yeah. So for me, my reoccurring nightmare is being unprepared. So when I think about kind of being afraid of sharing the gospel, like it helps me to just kind of rehearse my story in my head a little, not like rehearse the speech of my story, but like remind myself, like, what has Jesus done in my life? Like, it's a really nice refresher to start the day to like, you know, I was dead in my sins, but Jesus did this for me. Like nothing I could have done, but he rescued me. And so like just remembering that, bringing it to the forefront of my mind makes it, you know, a little more eager to share it, like hungering for opportunities to talk to people about that, because it's also like, it's easy because like we came from a Christian, you know, especially, I grew up in the church. I was raised in a Christian culture. So like, whenever I hear sharing the gospel, like it is always this thing in my head that builds up to, I've got to have the perfect presentation, all these things. But like in the post-Christian culture that we live in, like it really is just conversations with people you come across. And it's not from the place of, you know, I'm trying to sell someone something. I am a satisfied customer because of what Jesus has done in my life.
Wow.
Like, why wouldn't I want to share that with people?
Wow.
And so I just always have to reframe it constantly because that fear, the fear is not based in the truth. The fear is a lie. Like the devil doesn't want me to be effective in my faith. He doesn't want me to bear fruit. So I've got to push past that fear.
Yeah.
And when I find I'm there having a conversation with someone, like I find I am not anxious about what I need to say because the Spirit's there with me. I can feel it. And, you know, the words are there. I know what to say and the fear's gone. And so it's just that anticipation that, you know, isn't really based in anything.
Yeah.
So it's almost like in taking the step, the fear is alleviated. Yeah. Like in choosing to step forward.
Yeah. That just reminds me of another theme that has really emerged in these conversations. It's that because we usually end with sort of like, what's this encouragement or what's something tangible that we can look at. And then I think it applies here too, just this thing of being really aware of what Jesus has done for you. Mm-hmm. Like just really finding yourself in that place of overwhelm of like, but he did that for me when I didn't deserve it, you know, and letting that overwhelm you to the point of overflow, right? To where it's going to overflow and touch other people. And thank you guys. I wish we had more time in some ways. When we could, I mean, we're the ones sitting here, but I just appreciate you guys coming on. I think you've got a unique perspective on some of these things, you know, the challenges. I think we got to bring some of our global perspective of the challenges our brothers and sisters face other places, kind of give some perspective to what we're really talking about here. So thank you guys, and I'm confident that this this conversation is going to be meaningful for a lot of people. So thank you.
I'm happy to. Thank you.